to another episode of Chatterbox with me, Mel Biggs. This is the podcast where every month I sit down with a folk musician from across the UK and Europe, and I get to interview them and find out more about the person behind the music. This month my guest is the fantastic Martin Coudroy from France. He is a Breton, Massif Central and Swedish music expert, I suppose I can call him that. He's been doing it most of his life and he has full of knowledge about it. It's really interesting to hear what he's got to say, and also his experience with theatre and teaching and loads of amazing wisdom that he's sharing with us in this episode. I really hope you enjoy this episode. Don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel or wherever you're listening to it, and leave me a comment if you're on a platform that allows that. It would be amazing to hear what you think. Without further ado, here is Martin Coudroy. It's wonderful to finally meet you. We've never met in person before, although I've obviously heard of your wonderful playing and your teaching over the years. Many of my friends have been to your workshops here in England and danced to your music when you've been here, and also when they visited France as well. Looking at your career so far, it seems you've achieved so much in so many different places, not only France and Brittany, but in Sweden. There are so many strings to your bow, buttons to your box, perhaps, but tell me, where did it all start for you, and how did you get into folk music and folk dance when you were little?
At the very beginning, it's from my parents. My parents play music, and they are amateur musicians. My father is an English teacher, actually. So I choose Russian, some first language. But now I try to speak in English. When I was kid, my parents had a Balfolk band. So I grew up in the Balfolk,
The world of Balfolk.
Yeah, world of Balfolk. But mostly play soccer with my brother, or play a game, and sometimes play a dance, something, and sleep on the backstage often. But I began to play music with a friend of my parents. She used to stay one night at home, and she used to teach us piano. So 3 years like that, but it was very classical piano. But it was great because she was a friend, and it was easy. And then one day we met some musician in Rennes, and they play fiddle, mostly fiddle, and they play music from Massif Central. And it's quite unusual because in Brittany everyone plays Breton music. So we were strange. So I began to talk with the man, Benoît Chantron, and then he began my teacher in fiddle, because I play fiddle. Mm-hmm. So I began to play fiddle with him and other guys in La Chaplotte. And then one day I came to a week workshop, the end of a week workshop, where my father was with Marc Perron.
Ah, wow.
And then, I met Marc Perron. It was so, wow.
Yeah.
So after that, I decided to begin to play the box. And,
it's quite a big influence to have essentially God teach you and kind of influence you into starting the Melodeon. Wow. What was that like with Marc? Did you get to know him well? What kind of character? He comes across like quite larger than life, like big character. And
so after this meeting, I asked my father to learn me some tunes, and then I just listen CDs and learn tunes. And the next summer, I went to the camp with Marc Perron, and then I tried to meet Marc Perron everywhere. It was like God for me. He's a great musician and a great human being. You know, he's very open, and he reminds all the things. So he reminds the name of your dog. You talk about the dog 10 years ago, but he remembers it.
It's lovely, crazy. Isn't it? That he must meet so many people, but could remember those things. Obviously, he's not with us anymore, sadly, but very, very special to be able to recite that. Whereabouts in France are you from? Sorry, Martin, because you're talking about Brittany. Is that where you grew up?
I grew up in north of France, in Picardy, where my father has had his first job, and then we came back in Brittany when I was 11, and then I grew up in Brittany.
How was that, as you say, when you were in the Balfolk scene? When did you start really playing for dance? Was it fiddle first that you were playing dance music?
Yeah, yes, with fiddle when I was 12, maybe something like that. And for me, before that, I played the piano, but I only play for me or for my family, and then I play for a lot of people, dance on my music. It was crazy. I was, wow, is it possible?
When did you start writing your own stuff for dance?
Oh, quite early, I think, because when I was extremely shy when I was a teenager, so the music for me, it was the way to communicate with people and the way to be with other people, the easier way. So I began to play, I don't know, a lot of hours each days, like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours each days, and learn all the music I could on CDs. But sometimes I had no new music, so I had to build some music.
Yeah, you ran out of music to learn, so you started writing. I think that's quite incredible. Just the dedication that you had. Were you schooled in a school? Did you do homeschool? Like, how did that work in around your music?
So I mostly learn to play Melodeon myself, but I was in the traditional music association to play to learn fiddle, and I learned also classical music on fiddle. So I learned how to write music, and I learned sheet music, and then I went to university, music university, and then I went to 2 years to work with children and music.
Oh, wow. So that was quite early on after you'd graduated or kind of got qualified.
It was a great building for me because it was very open to all kinds of music and style, contemporary music, electroacoustic, classical, rock, jazz, traditional music. So it was very open, and it was very, and I met a lot of people, and it was a very good way to think about how to teach music also.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've spoken about this with guests previously, and you wouldn't know this, but I had a really good relationship with my teachers at school, and I had a good education, and I think that that's really enforced is the wrong word. It's really inspired me to become an educator myself. I think it's a real privilege, isn't it, when we have good education and people that care about what we're learning and how we learn. And that definitely goes forward with us. We'll come back and talk more about teaching in a little bit. I'm really intrigued though. So fiddle is your first, I suppose piano was your first instrument, but fiddle maybe your first love. How did the Melodeon kind of fit in with everything throughout your teens? Obviously you met Marc Perron, he inspired you to start. How did then the balance between fiddle and Melodeon go for you?
At the beginning, it was a lot of music and fiddle, Melodeon. It was, for me, it was just music.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to play the both. But I think when I was 16, maybe 17, a lot of band asked me to play with them, but with Melodeon
Yeah.
in Breton music. So I played a lot of Melodeon on stage and less fiddle. And I think also I began to play more Melodeon because you can play alone for the dance, and it's very easy. It's quite loud. You have a left and right hand. You can sing, and with a fiddle, it's not the same. That's
a different structure of sound, isn't it, within that instrument, I guess. But it seems like you started quite young. People were interested in wanting to play with you. That must have felt quite incredible, to be out there playing your music as well as traditional music, I take it.
Yeah, but I think in Britain it's there is a lot of musicians, and so it's very easy to meet other musicians and to begin to play, and there is in each village or each town you have a lot of music institution with traditional music and traditional dances, and a lot of fest day. So you can play a lot if you want.
Yeah, which
So
suited you if you were doing 6 to 8 hours a day.
yeah,
So, how was the transition into like a formal education environment? I mean, you seemed like you were very studious anyway with your music. So, was it quite a natural transition to just go into an environment where you had all of these different genres that you could dip into? Was that natural for you to go and learn in a more formalized way?
oh yes, because I always did the parallel traditional music and classical building.
Mm.
So for me, I never thought about it. It was just okay. It's great to know how to read sheet music, but it's great to know how to learn by ear music.
Yeah,
But my music is mostly in the traditional area, and it's for me it's the more natural music to yeah, just to play by hearing. And when I was
yeah,
15, 16,
yeah,
17, I spent a lot of time on in the bar to play to jam,
yeah,
to play with other people and to play Breton music, but other music, and to play jazz, to play jazz manouche.
yeah,
It was very popular. So
yeah.
I learn a lot there.
How do you find, because we haven't talked yet about Sweden, and actually, maybe before I ask this question, maybe let's say, I'll ask this instead. Where did you move to Sweden in this process? So you went to university and then you worked with children outside, which I want to come back to. Lots of things I want to come back to. But let's go to Sweden first. When did that start for you? And was it a study trip, or was it something that you just needed to go and experience for dance and music, or?
So when I was in the chaplet, the association, I learned music from Europe.
Hmm.
So I learned some Morris dance.
Hey, it made it. It has travelled. No, I know it has. That's good.
I learned some music from France. But I learned one day Polska from Sweden, and I remember this day. This tune was so great. So I remember the tune. So it was a beautiful melody and very long and very. I had a great sensation,
Yeah,
and yeah. So it was my first polska when I was maybe 15. And then I had a friend, Oela Barbelette, who played harp, and she had one CD with Swedish music, one CD of Wesen,
ah,
CD Essence.
yeah.
So she gave me the CD, and we listened the CD together and tried to play polska together. And then Oela heard about Ethno Camp. I don't know if you know
I
Ethno Camp.
do. Yeah, we've had a few other guests that have been on that have been to ethnos and things. Yeah.
So my first time in Sweden was in Ethno when I was 18. So we were like 12 people from Brittany and went there, and it was a great week.
Amazing.
I mean, yeah.
I have to say, I'm really annoyed for some reason. It's just one of those things that I regret. I only found out about ethno when I was too old to go,
Ah,
and I
mm,
don't know how strict they are on it. I think I was in my early 30s, but I didn't even try and get in. I thought I couldn't take the heartache of being
mm.
told you're too old. No.
Ah,
So yeah, but I've heard so many incredible stories, and I think it would have done me really well. I think I would have learnt a lot and felt more confident in my music if I had
mm,
had that kind of start. But yeah, I mean, particularly one in Sweden, kind of it's a cultural exchange, but to have it based in Sweden, I would imagine that it's quite Swedish flavored. There's lots of
mm.
Swedish music that gets shared. Um, it's interesting hearing you remember very vividly the first Swedish tune that you heard. I don't have a specific memory, but I do know that when I started to hear that music in sessions in England, it had a very different form, a different like intervals and the kind of really extended melody phrases that just
Mhm.
go on forever. And I think rhythmically it's something that feels quite unique to me compared to other French and English, music that I'd been
Mm.
playing already. So it was instantly something that grabs you about it, isn't there? And then obviously for you, it was just this, let's follow this trail, let's end up there. And then where did it go from there? So you're at Ethno. How did that then pan out? You met Aurelian there, is that correct?
Yes, but I met him a few years later.
Oh, okay. So what happened for you during this ethno camp and your fascination with Sweden? How did it end up that you stayed there for a while and moved around?
Yeah, so I met a lot of people, Swedish, but also a lot of people from China, Germany. So I kept contact with some of them, and so I traveled there. They traveled at home also, and I began to play more and more Swedish music. And in France, there is CMTN. It's an association who invite people from Norway, Sweden, Finland, sometimes Denmark, and they organize a dance and music camp in France. So I went there also, and so I met a lot of people also there. And after my 5 years studying in France, I decided to go to Sweden and to learn more because I began to play professional musician
Yeah.
in France with people who played with French people who played Swedish music because they went there in the 80s and came back with a lot of music and have a lot of contacts. So I played a lot of Swedish music, but something was missing for me, and so I decided to go there to be able to play fiddle
Yeah.
because I went to a fiddle course, 1 year fiddle course, but also to eat Swedish and to speak in Swedish and to travel in Sweden and to understand the music in the and the dances in the real life.
Yeah.
To not to be in the brain but in the whole body.
Yeah, in the body and the heart. I think
Yeah.
that's really
Mm,
important.
mm,
I This is a very nice conversation. You're kind of feeding my excitement for travel and the reasons mostly I want to travel to experience culture, and I think folk music is such a good
yeah.
conduit. I think that maybe translates well. We can kind of find each other very easily through music and dance. Knowing what you know now, but if we stay between France and Sweden for now, what's the musically? What's the differences? Like I know that we can talk in very specific terms, but for you on your instruments, your approach to a Breton set, a Swedish set, maybe a Central France set.
Mm.
What's the feeling that you come to the instrument with, or obviously you're taking from the dance floor? How do you respond to those cultures differently musically?
I think the first thing is a culture way. Maybe the instrument, because in Sweden they mostly play fiddle,
Yeah,
and they sing a lot.
yeah,
In France, we are not so good in singing. Oh, it depends, but when you are in traditional group,
Yeah.
You can sing a lot. There is a lot of festival with singing, but in the general life there is not so much singing. In Sweden, it was always a lot of singing, and so it was great for me. When I was in Sweden, I play mostly fiddle, so it's a way to feel a melody. It's very open for me in the fiddle. You have many ways to play note, the same note, but
Yeah.
it's very open. You can play between the notes, and you can
Yeah.
use a lot of. And every night I try to transpose it on my box. It's not so easy,
Yes.
actually.
A little bit
But
more fixed.
yeah, but it's for me it's a great way to know better your instrument
Yeah.
and to approach a style. And so, and for me in the Massif Central there is also a big fiddle tradition, and there is some connection for me because there is a lot of three times bourrée.
Mhm.
And in Sweden, Polska is
Yeah.
three times also. And the fiddle and the way to play the note on with so it's very different, but there is some
Yeah, the
material.
connections.
Mm.
As I mean, this is a visual thing, so those people that are listening on YouTube, you'll see these actions that Martin is putting in. But the way that I can describe that is like an elastic quality, which for me, when I hear and dance Swedish music, the svikt, as we now know it in England, I'm sure that it's the bounce in the knee and that kind of little bit of bounce that you have that translates to the music. But I think that whilst maybe the speed and the regularity of the rhythms in Massif Central, that kind of determines the pace and the feeling. There is still that kind of stretch that you can get within either the
Yeah,
bellows or the bow, isn't there?
very true. Mm.
That relation. So because you do play both instruments so fluently, do you relate to the bow and the bellows as if they are the same or similar? Do they talk to each other between the instruments?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm. Yeah,
Can you talk a little bit about that?
yeah, because the stroke is the way you have to the way you have to let sound your instrument and to find a style, your own style, and the style of the music, the style of the area the music comes from, and it's the same for the bellows. But when you begin to play fiddle, if you don't think about your stroke, you just play, and it's
Yeah.
very annoying. But when you begin to play the box, you can just put your finger on a button and it plays a
Yeah.
beautiful sound. So you are very happy. And sometimes you don't work on the bellows. You think pull, push,
Yeah.
but it's so there is so many ways to have a joy with your bellows. And yeah, for me it's very important and very you can tell story, you can and you can make your music to be a dance music or not a dance music, a music who tell story, or just a music with a lot of note.
Yeah. No,
That's
I
a difference.
completely. It's lovely to hear you vividly talking and expressing your feeling about the bellows because I can relate to that entirely. I think for me as a teacher, I have a lot of people that will start with me from scratch and we'll get the repertoire and we can do the push button, push pull. Great, they've got some tunes. But naturally their ear starts to tell them that something's missing. I'm not sounding like you or like that person over there. And I say it's probably the bellows. Now it's time for us to start looking at that. And then it almost feels like everything falls apart again for them, which is a bit of a shame, but it's the process of the Melodeon. I don't know if you
Mm.
maybe went through the same or have witnessed the same with your own students, but this idea of constantly taking down the building and rebuilding it again, it's
Mm.
I think music is like that anyway, isn't it, when we learn new skills.
All the life.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of the joy to be embraced, but it's also part of our job as teachers to remind people that this is the joy. We have to learn, and we have to be bad at things again and then learn to be good at them, and learning new skills, you know. So it's embracing all of that rather than getting like frustrated with it all, because it's a bad energy, isn't it, when that happens.
And you meet new people, and oh, a new way opens for you, and that's great.
Absolutely. Just want to stay on the topic of Bellows a little bit longer. I know that it's something that, talking to my friends who came to your Halsey Manor course in, was it 2019? No, it was 22, wasn't it? It was 2022.
Yeah.
I was in Canada. I was on a musical theatre show, which was the
Great.
best thing in my life. And we'll talk about that because I know that you've got musical theatre connections. But that's why I missed you. But there was a lot of mention about Bellows on that course, and you are teaching this evening, as we are recording this, a Melinar for my Patreon community, all about finding joy and life in music through the Bellows. It's obviously something that you've thought a lot about. How do you approach it as a teacher? If you were sort of starting somebody off to think about using their Bellows, is there any kind of techniques or exercises that you use that you wouldn't mind sharing? And if you want to hear what Martin's got to say about how to use your Bellows, then you can subscribe to my Patreon to get the extended podcast episode without interruption. Not only will you get the full extended episode of this podcast, but you'll also get every other guest's extended episode as well. And if you subscribe to a tier that's high enough, then you'll also get their Melinar tutorials, where you'll get to learn from every guest as well. The archive also includes 5 years of my own teaching. I started this in March 2020, and you can access lots of Melinar tutorials, not just for Melodeon players, let me make that clear. There's loads of music theory, rhythm and groove and techniques and all sorts of things that you can access from other instruments as well. If you're interested in any of that, there's a link to my Patreon in the description where you can look and browse for free. And I look forward to hopefully meeting you over there and welcoming you into Mel's Angels, which is my community. Now back to the interview. Some of the things that I picked up from reading about your work online is this fascination with aesthetics and kind of contemporary dance, and the way that I interpreted that word aesthetic is the way things look, or the way things can be staged, the way things can be presented. And I know that you do a lot of work in theatre. Is that something that naturally came as a progression of working with so many of these fantastic musicians? Did the theatre work grow out of that, or was it a completely separate choice in your life, or did you have to study as well? Did you study to do musical theatre?
Well,
there's a lot there, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I can be like that sometimes. Let's start with one question, whichever one you want.
No, I never choose to be a musician. So it's mostly I met some people and we began to play together. Like with Aurélien, we met in a Belgium festival, and all the night we used to jam. And then people ask us, "Oh, do you want to play to our festival there?" So we, yeah, why not? Yes. And the duo began to play like that. And for the theater, it was quite the same, I think. For me, it's very fitting me to play in different
environments.
Yeah, environment. I played a lot of swing manouche,
Yeah.
Django Reinhardt stuff, and I really like it. I met the theater when in my 2 years building to teach music with children. We have some theater things, and then we had a command. We used to play in a festival about Scandinavian literature, and they asked us to make a show with Swedish music and a book from Sweden for children.
Wow.
So we decided to take the wonderful travel of Nils Holgersson. I don't know in English, but
no, I looked it up. If people want to find, I'll leave a link to your website because you can see some videos and clips from the show. Yeah.
So it was my first things. So we had some help with comedian and to build this show, and we played it like 600 times, a lot of times.
Okay, huge project. Wow.
Yeah, but very easy also because we are only two, and there is nothing on stage but just us. Like when you read a book, you have to make your
Imagine
brain
the character.
yeah,
Wow.
and think all the things. So
So did you have a hand in how it looked? Was that part of your work as well as the music? Was it the whole creation of that show was between you and the other artists involved, or was there a production
no. It
crew?
was mostly me and Eleanor Billy, who plays Nicalorpa,
Hmm.
and we meet because of the Sweden connection. At the beginning, we just made something very simple, but then this show had a lot of different lives because we rebuilt all the show many times because we meet other people, and I began to play in a modern dance company, so it makes me to be another man on stage,
Yeah.
to dance with my box and to have some dancer on my back when I played, and
Wow.
jump and to it's great also. It's another way to be connected with the dance and to be connected with your instrument and your body, to be on stage
Yeah.
with that. So this feeding the theater and the theater feeding the folk music and the folk music feed and for me it's great to meet different people and to play in very different situations.
Yeah.
Like modern dance, it was always there is a lot of very strange shows in modern dance. So I made wow,
Yeah.
and
The music is so intertwined as well, isn't it? With dance, but particularly I find contemporary dance. It's I I don't see a lot of it, but I did a piece of work last year where I was the warm up act with a friend. We did some ceilidhs in the morning to warm the children up. It was a children's dance festival, and then in the evening we went to see them dancing, and I was blown away by the variety of different styles, but the way that the music and the sound and the lighting and the costume and all of those, like the interplay between all of those dimensions, it's kind of raises the hairs on your arms, and it's just, yeah, amazing. I think theatre for me is one of the most magical art forms because of the meeting of all of these minds, coming together and making it happen. You have another project. I don't know if it's still running, the Velodicee, which is is
yeah.
that a travelling theatre show on a bike, or is that just has a bike involved in the
No,
show?
we travel by bike from home to
Yeah,
the stage, and we use
perfect.
bicycle on stage.
Yeah.
So you use bicycle in a different ways, but musically we play flute. I
Yeah.
build a flute in
Oh
the
wow. In the frame.
yeah, a Swedish flute actually, harmonic.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh, beautiful. Do you do any cycling around with the accordion as well, or is it two hands on the wheel?
no, but I have a special. Uh, I have a special. I can. A friend of me made a
Oh
special.
wow, a pannier, yeah? Is that
So I
but
have it on the back of my bicycle, and
yeah,
it's very
really, yeah, good quality. Just for those listening, Martin has held up a really good quality like pannier rucksack for his accordion that can fit onto the back of the bike, and it's absolutely lurid, gorgeous turquoise. It's beautiful.
so you can ride under the rain, no
Yeah,
problem. I tried it lots of times.
many occasions.
Yeah. It's a very good project for me because I really like to be connected to the nature,
Mm,
and because one of my passion is to plant seed and to have a lot of trees.
yeah,
I live in the countryside, and it's my thing to
yeah.
be connected with birds.
your sanctuary. So where you are at the moment, are you at home at the moment? Do you have a baby forest that you're growing around your
Yeah,
house?
actually.
Oh, that sounds like the dream. Beautiful. Yeah.
It also feed me in my music and in my
100%, absolutely. I feel like I've talked about things that I want to go into a bit more detail about. So, with the children's theatre now, is that something that you are always doing? Are there other projects that have come from that, or other theatre projects that you are looking forward to making at some point in future? Anything that's coming up?
actually the bicycle project for me it's my next goal because we have rebuilt this show.
Hmm.
We had a week with a great I don't know in English.
Is it like a dramaturg, we might call
Yeah,
it here?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
dramaturg. Yeah, okay. So,
And he was very great, and he understand because there was some points we were not very happy with the show, and now we are very happy.
oh,
But we have to work on it and I really want to travel more by bike and to because I travel all the time and I travel mostly by train because I hate to drive. But sometimes you have to drive.
yeah.
But it's also uh, I have mostly duo, solo, trio, so we can drive. We can take a train,
Yeah.
and for me it's very important to all the time you can take a plane to travel, but yeah, it's not a good thing for me to.
Yeah,
with
it's stressful, but mostly it's about the environment, isn't it? And the
yeah,
climate,
yeah,
thinking
absolutely.
about climate change. But
And for me it's also something about where we live, because if you take the plane all the time, I take planes sometimes, but if you can do if you can take a train instead, take the train. You will meet people,
mm,
you will be comfortable, and it's something about how we. For me to play in Balfolk also, it's very important because the people meet together, and you can be very different, but you meet, and it's the opposite of the model of our society.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think the music is great for that, to have more joy, more connecting,
Yeah,
more real things.
that's really beautiful, that comment, and I think it's important that for any level of musician, we can kind of access that connection just through opening your mouth and having a conversation with another person at a workshop, at a dance, but out in the world. Sharing that connection is a really vital part, and I think, well, I don't know how long it takes, but there's that confidence then, isn't there? If you can kind of go to a dance, maybe it's your first one, maybe you don't think you're very good, but if you just keep getting up on the dance floor, there's some magic that happens, that connection with the dance, that even
Mm.
if you're just like moving to the music, you wouldn't be doing that if the music wasn't playing and if the room wasn't full with people. And yeah, just hearing you say about traveling by train, like land-based travel, my sister now lives in Germany, and it's just we always try and take the Eurostar, get the trains down, and not only is it good for my mental geography of a place, and you see things that you wouldn't normally see if you were just flying over,
Mm.
you wouldn't see anything. But yeah, like we've been unfortunate that Deutsche Bahn is so crap at the moment that we've
Mm.
had to take different routes and share taxis with complete strangers, and it's sort of actually life experiences have happened because of the circumstance, and like you wouldn't normally put yourself in that position, but yeah, sharing a taxi with all sorts of different nationalities just for that like hour long journey or whatever, yeah, it becomes little memorable moments. And I think as a creative, maybe stories that we end up creating into music or theatre or books or whatever. So
Mm.
yeah, crucial as a creative, I think, to be
Yeah.
putting yourself out in the world. I personally, I'm on board with that, but I also get exhausted by the world, so I have to kind of retreat back into my box at home and just recover before I can do it again.
Yeah, ride by bike, for me, it's a way to reconnecting with the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be on my own rhythm, and to you meet people because you are lost. There is no connection. You are so you have to knock. The last tour we had, we were in near Argentine,
Mm.
but it was in January, so it was raining all the time,
Yeah.
and I have no battery left, and it was dark, and my light was broken, and
Oh
I
no.
was alone because my friend missed the train, because we take the bike in the train sometimes to do a long distance.
Yeah.
So I was very lost, and I knock on the door, and the family just invite me to gave me some food, and so it was crazy. It was
Yeah.
just great. I really like this kind of things. So we invite them to see the show
Mm.
a few days later, and it's a great way to be connected with your audience also.
Yeah.
You know, it's not me on the stage and the audience there. Say we are. It's the same world, and we just share something and something in back, and it's very something very sincere and very deep and very emotional and very. And I
Yeah.
really like this.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I think as well in today's current political climate where people want us to be us and them, separate, we hate them, we love them, I if you can get out in the world and actually meet real people and find their values in life, it does kind of in our own mind find the right facts and, get the good news and find the good people, and that's the vast majority of people, isn't it? They're the people that will put you up, give you food, take you in if you need a shelter for the evening. Most people will be doing that without
Yeah.
question. So, but that's not necessarily the news that we are fed. So it's, I think, a valid point that you're making to remind ourselves to make those connections, because it can become all doom and gloom and quite difficult to make our way through the headlines of the news sometimes, if we listen to it. I minimise it in my life, but I know it's important to know what is happening, but it's hard to keep hearing it. Vive la folk
I'm
music.
sorry. We are quite far of books now, but
Yeah, but this is the natural thing. I like to hear you. I feel like I know you a lot better for this conversation, and that's perfect. That's the kind of lovely thing that I want Chatterbox to be about. I am going to come back to music just to finish us off. Looking at the bands that you play with, it's majoritatively, it's duos, it's people that you've met along your journey, different combinations. Generally, you seem to be on the box most of the time, or maybe it's just the videos that I've seen.
no, it's true.
But playing with violin players, nickel harper, guitarists. How do you approach each different group? Obviously, there's the whole story of each duo and how that came about, but how does it feel being in a more Swedish, more Breton? How does that all work for you now, and what's the approach to it?
I think when I began to have a project with someone, it's never planned. So because when I do that, like I had a quatuor band, but we just played 2 years together. It was great. We were very happy to play together, but life. But when I began to play with Aurélien on the guitar, it was just a meeting, and then people asked us to play. And at the beginning, we played mostly Breton music, because he was very interested about Breton music, and I played a lot of Breton music. But then I went to Sweden, and more we began to play Swedish music. Life brings us the Swedish music, but we never decide. Okay, now we will not play any more Breton music. just like that. And
I mean,
I
you've been together for 20 years or more now, so it's
yeah,
kind of you've grown up a lot, and you've gone and travelled a lot more. So yeah, of course, naturally the evolution would happen. How has it been to make space for other bands and other work? I am assuming that Aurelian also has other projects and things, but
mm,
how does it work meeting up with all of these different groups?
it depends,
Is it
but
busy? Is it always busy?
yes, quite busy.
Yeah.
uh,
That's a lot of diaries, isn't it, to
yeah,
coincide?
yeah, because we have it's almost always duos. It's easier to fix the calendar and
Yeah.
to and I play because Aurélien lives in north of France. So when we work on new stuff, we just invite us. We have 1 week in Brittany or 1 week there, and we just work on stuff. And sometimes we just send. Oh, I have a new tune, so I send it,
Mhm.
and the next ball, maybe we can try it. And sometimes because we know very well each other, sometimes we try
Do it.
a tune because yeah, just like that. And because
Yeah.
I often I make the tunes, and so I send the chord and all the things to Aurélien, and so he can play with me. And then we have a first meeting with the dancer, and then we can work with it with
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah.
Because if we just work together as a duo, and then the tune is finished, now we play with the dancer, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It 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 have to be natural and
Yeah.
meeting.
The dancers will have their opinion. They will move in
Mm.
their own way, which will have its influence on the music. Yeah.
But I have a new project called Scavidra, and with Colline Genet, who plays the fiddle. And I met her because she grew up with parents very interested in who played Swedish music. So she plays Swedish music. She went in Sweden also. She made a Nordic master, so she went in Finland, Norway, Denmark, Sweden. But she live in Brittany for 10 years now. So she plays a lot of Breton music, and she
Amazing.
really like music from Massif Central, and so we have a lot of common. And she lives uh, only a half hour away from my home, so it's
Incredible.
a new experience for me.
Yeah. How long
uh,
have you been working together?
1 year.
Okay. And is there a recording of that band out already? Referring.
Yes, but we just made two short videos at home.
I listened to the videos. Yes. Yeah. I will make sure that things that we've talked about are linked down below in the show notes, guys. So do go and look at Martin's website is very, very good. You can find everything there, but I will leave some specific videos and things. The YouTube channel, I think, has got most things on. Really, really lovely conversation. I've run out of questions. I don't know if there's anything that you feel that you wanted to say and I've not asked it. If there's any project I've not mentioned or anything in particular.
No, I'm really happy to talk with you, and I hope to meet you for real
Yeah.
sometime.
Actually, not through the computer screen would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
incredible. Yeah. Thank you so much for this conversation. I know that it's going to be really interesting for the listeners and everyone that's here to learn on their respective instruments. And as we've said, that crossover between instruments. I like to think that this isn't just a Melodeon podcast. This is a musician's podcast, and it's about learning from each other. So, and you've provided a lot of wisdom. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Martin for that wonderful conversation. If you've enjoyed it, please don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave a review, all the things. Leave me a comment down below. It'd be lovely to hear from you, and give it a share. If you know somebody who's going to enjoy this or get some value out of it, please give it a share. Let people know that it exists. And yeah, that would be amazing. Thank you to everybody who supports me on Patreon. You're all a marvellous people, and welcome to anyone new who is going to be joining joining after listening to this podcast. The link is in the description. Don't forget to have a look and check it out. My guest tutor this month coming on Patreon is the fantastic Frankie Inslee. She is a musician that's based now in the northeast of England, but I've known her for many, many years. We've kind of grown up together through the Morris, and I'm really, really excited to have her on. She's a fantastic tutor. A lot of you might know her already if you're part of the Northeast Melodeon group or have been to workshops with her. She's going to be doing a Melinar for us all about getting the most out of one row. Now, she plays 2 rows and 1 row. This will be a tutorial for however many rows you've got. But what she's said in a message to me is that it's going to be about exploring ideas and 1 row styles such as Cajun, Quebecois, Irish and East Anglian music, and where we can get lots of beautiful idiosyncrasies and the limitations that the box gives us, and how we can find that fascinating, and certainly how Frankie finds it fascinating. So if you're interested in learning how to kind of explore 1 row up and down the rows, then that will be a really interesting Melinar to be part of. She's going to be joining me and my Patreon community on May the 21st. That's a Wednesday at 7 p.m. UK time. You can be there live through Zoom, and if you can't make the live, then you'll be able to catch up with the recording via Patreon subscription afterwards. Quite a few things from me this month, so listen up. This coming Saturday at the Stables in Milton Keynes, I'm going to be teaching a level 1 absolute beginners Melodeon course. We do have some spaces available, and there are Melodians available to hire as part of the event. So if you're interested in that, check out the link below from the Stables. I'm also there on June the 28th for the level 2 improvers course. So if you've done level 1 or you feel that you're ready to start exploring row crossing and that sort of stuff, then you can join me on Saturday, June the 28th. I'll also be at the Halsey DG weekend on the 16th to the 18th of May. You'll have to check in with them. I think it's fully booked, but there might be a wait list. That's coming up. I'm really excited about that. So if you're going, I look forward to meeting you there. Do come and say hello, because I don't always recognise people. And also, just a reminder that from the 14th to the 18th of July is the Folk Unbound, the Gathering Week. This is a workshop week that me and Lucy Huzzard devised. If you've listened to our episode of the podcast, then you'll know all about its origins. But Frankie Inslee is going to be our guest tutor. So we're going to be talking a lot more about that on next month's podcast. But there are still places available, so if you are a woman or if you identify as trans or non-binary, then you are very welcome to attend, and it's all going to be about building confidence playing in groups. So whatever that looks like to you, you are more than welcome to apply, and yeah, really enjoying reading the applications that are coming in. It's going to be a fantastic event. That's all from me this month. Thank you ever so much for listening again. Do all the good stuff to promote this. Please help share the stories round, and I'll see you again on next month's podcast. Thank you ever so much. Bye.